The relentless Texas sun beat down on the cracked pavement of downtown Austin as Marcus wiped the sweat from his brow. His faded UT Longhorns t-shirt clung to his back, soaked through from hours of loading and unloading furniture for a moving company that paid him cash under the table. No benefits, no security, just $20 an hour when they needed an extra pair of hands. At 29 years old, Marcus Chen had imagined a different life. 7 years ago, he had graduated summa cum laude from the University of Texas with a degree in finance and economics. He had walked across that stage, diploma in hand, believing the American dream was finally within reach. His mother, who had worked double shifts at a nursing home his entire childhood, had cried tears of joy. His father, a retired postal worker, had beamed with pride. Their son, the first in the family to graduate from a 4-year university, was going to make it. But the Great Recession had other plans. The financial sector wanted experience. 3 to 5 years minimum, they all said. And connections. Always connections. Who did he know at Goldman Sachs? Which alumni could put in a good word? Marcus had neither experience nor connections. His parents were working-class folks who had sacrificed everything to put him through school, but they did not run in circles with investment bankers and hedge fund managers. So Marcus had hustled. He had tried everything. He had driven for Uber and Lyft until his car broke down and he could not afford repairs. He had delivered food until the apps changed their algorithms and he could barely make minimum wage. He had worked retail, bartended, done construction. And now he was doing day labor, moving furniture for people who lived in houses he would never be able to afford. The only light in his darkness was Elena. Marcus smiled despite his exhaustion as he thought of her. Elena Rodriguez, his girlfriend of 5 years, was the only person who still looked at him and saw the man he was meant to be rather than the failure he had become. She worked as a teacher's aide at an elementary school, earning barely $35,000 a year, yet she always found ways to support him. She cooked for him, encouraged him, believed in him when he had stopped believing in himself. Today he was helping deliver furniture to Mrs. Catherine Vanderbilt, a wealthy widow who owned multiple properties in the hills west of Austin and treated service workers like they were invisible at best and inconvenient at worst. Marcus dreaded these deliveries, but the pay was slightly better than average and in his position he could not afford to be choosy. He arrived at her estate in Westlake Hills 15 minutes before the scheduled time, proud that he had managed to navigate the traffic successfully. The house was an architectural masterpiece, all glass and steel and limestone, with manicured grounds that probably cost more to maintain each month than Marcus earned in a year. Marcus and his co-worker began unloading an antique dining table and matching chairs. Before they could finish, Mrs. Vanderbilt emerged from the house like a storm given human form. She was a tall woman in her early 60s, dressed in expensive athleisure wear with perfectly styled blonde hair and enough jewelry to feed a family for a month. Her face was set in a perpetual expression of displeasure, and her voice could cut through steel. "What on earth do you call this?" she bellowed, her voice drawing the attention of a gardener working nearby. "You incompetent fool. Do you have any idea what time it is?" Marcus checked his phone quickly. He was actually 12 minutes early. "Good afternoon, Mrs. Vanderbilt. We are actually ahead of schedule. We arrived earlier than the delivery window. Do not talk back to me. I said I needed this furniture delivered immediately." "Immediately? Do you understand English, or did whatever useless school you attended fail to teach you basic comprehension?" Marcus felt the familiar burn of humiliation crawling up his spine. His co-worker, a guy named Tommy who had been doing this work for years, kept his head down and continued unloading, having learned long ago that engaging with clients like this only made things worse. "Ma'am, I apologize if there was any confusion, but we delivered everything as quickly as we could. There was construction traffic on 360, and we had to take a detour through downtown." "Traffic? Construction? You lazy, pathetic excuse for a worker. That is all you people know how to do. Make excuses. Apologize. Then make the same stupid mistakes again and again." She turned to address the gardener as if performing for an audience. "Look at him. A grown man doing manual labor because he is probably too stupid or too lazy to get a real job. I wonder what you will amount to in life with this kind of attitude." Each word was a blow. Marcus's jaw clenched, but he forced himself to remain calm. He needed this job. He needed the money. His pride was a luxury he could not afford. "I am very sorry, ma'am. It will not happen again. Save your pathetic apologies for someone who cares. Put down my furniture and get out of my sight. Now." Marcus wanted to tell her that she was a cruel, heartless woman. He wanted to remind her that he was a human being deserving of basic respect. He wanted to walk away and never return. But he said nothing. He simply unloaded the furniture as quickly as his trembling hands would allow, collected his meager cash payment, and left while Mrs. Vanderbilt continued to insult him to anyone who would listen. By the time he reached the taco truck where Elena was waiting for him with lunch, Marcus's shoulders were slumped in defeat. Elena took one look at his face and knew immediately what had happened. She wrapped her arms around him without saying a word, letting him rest his head on her shoulder. "Mrs. Vanderbilt again?" she asked softly. "Every single time," Marcus replied, his voice thick with emotion. "Every time she finds a new way to remind me that I am nothing." Elena pulled back and looked into his eyes with fierce intensity. "You are not nothing, Marcus. Do you hear me? You are not nothing." They sat at one of the truck's outdoor tables, and Elena opened the container she had brought. Inside were his favorite tacos from a place near her school. She had spent her lunch money preparing this for him. "Baby, you should not let that woman's words ruin your whole day," Elena said, watching him eat. "She is just a miserable person who feels powerful by making others feel small." "But she is right about one thing," Marcus said bitterly. "Look at me. A finance degree from UT, and I am moving furniture like someone who never went to college. What kind of future do I have? What can I offer you?" Elena grabbed his hand firmly. "Stop it. Stop talking like that. You are a victim of circumstances beyond your control. The economy crashed right when you graduated. The whole system is rigged against people like us. None of that is your fault. But I feel so powerless." "Then use that feeling. Let it drive you to keep trying, to keep looking for opportunities. Marcus, I know you. I have seen your brilliance. I have watched you analyze financial markets and predict trends that professionals missed. You are talented. You are smart. You are everything the business world should want. You just need the right opportunity." Marcus managed a weak smile. "What would I do without you?" "You will never have to find out," Elena replied, smiling back. "Because I am not going anywhere. I believe in you, baby. I believe in us. Things will not stay like this forever. One door will open. I can feel it." As if on cue, Marcus's phone buzzed in his pocket. It was a text from his friend Devin, and it contained just 3 words and a location pin. "Job opening. Come ASAP." Marcus showed Elena the message. Her eyes lit up with hope. "See? What did I tell you? Go. Go right now. Do not waste any time." "But I have 2 more deliveries scheduled for this afternoon." "Forget them. This is more important. Go, Marcus. Go and grab this opportunity with both hands." Marcus kissed her quickly, his heart suddenly racing with possibility. He left his work truck with Tommy and caught a rideshare to the address Devin had sent. It was in Terrytown, one of Austin's most exclusive neighborhoods, where the houses were hidden behind tall privacy fences and the streets were lined with 100-year-old oak trees. When he arrived at the address, he found himself standing before an impressive iron gate. Through the bars he could see a stunning modern mansion, probably worth $5 million or more, with immaculate landscaping and a Tesla and a Range Rover parked in the circular driveway. On the stone pillar beside the gate was a professionally printed sign. "Vacancy, private chef and house manager needed. Competitive salary. Live-in option available. Serious applicants only." Marcus's heart pounded. A private chef position in a house like this would pay far more than anything he currently earned. This could be the breakthrough he needed. This could change everything. He pressed the intercom button, and after a moment, a voice crackled through the speaker. "Yes? Can I help you? Good afternoon. I saw the notice about the vacancy. I would like to apply for the position." There was a pause, then the gate began to swing open. "Come to the front door." Marcus walked up the pristine driveway, his worn sneakers feeling out of place on the expensive pavers. The front door opened before he could knock, revealing a man in his 50s wearing khakis and a polo shirt. "I am Robert, the property manager," the man said, looking Marcus up and down with an expression that clearly said he thought Marcus was wasting his time. "You are here about the chef position?" "Yes, sir. I'm a very good cook. If you give me a chance, I will prove it to you. Do you have any professional experience? Culinary school? References?" "I do not have formal training, but I am excellent in the kitchen. I can prepare anything. Just give me a chance to show you." Robert studied him for a long moment, taking in his sweaty appearance and cheap clothes. "The position is for a high-end household. The employers are very particular about who they hire." "I understand, sir. But I am serious about this opportunity. I am educated, hardworking, and I learn fast. I just need someone to give me a shot." Robert sighed. "Fine. Give me your phone number. The owners are the ones who do the hiring, not me." When they return from their office and if they are interested, I will call you for an interview. Marcus's spirits lifted slightly. Thank you, sir. My number is 512-555-3842. Robert pulled out his phone and stared at it without typing anything. Sir, you did not save the number, Marcus pointed out carefully. I wrote it down. But what if you lose the paper? Please just save it in your phone. My name is Marcus. You can save it as Marcus Chin, chef applicant. Robert's expression darkened. Are you telling me how to do my job? Do you want this position or not? Marcus immediately backed down. I am sorry, sir. I did not mean any disrespect. I am just very serious about this opportunity. If the owners want to call you, they will call you. That is all I can promise. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate it. Have a great day. As Marcus walked away from the house, his mind was already racing with possibilities. He called Elena immediately. How did it go? She asked eagerly. I spoke to the property manager. He took my number. He said the owners will call me if they are interested. That is good, baby. That is very good. We have to pray about this. We will pray together tonight and God will make a way. I hope so, Elena. I really hope so. This could be exactly what we need. That evening, in Elena's small studio apartment in East Austin, they knelt together and prayed with the kind of desperate hope that only those who have known true struggle can understand. Marcus prayed for favor, for opportunity, for a chance to prove himself. Elena prayed for Marcus's success, for their future together, for the plans they had made to one day get married and buy a small house. When they finished praying, Marcus held Elena close. I promise you, baby. Once I get this job, once I start earning a decent salary, we will start saving properly. We will save at least 70% of what I earn. We will finally be able to afford a down payment on a condo. We will get married. We will build the life we deserve. I believe you, Elena whispered. I believe in us. Neither of them could have known then that this job application would set in motion a chain of events that would test their love, challenge their morals, and ultimately reveal the true nature of human desire and deception. 4 days passed with no word from the Terrytown house. Marcus continued his day labor jobs, each day feeling longer and more soul-crushing than the last. He checked his phone obsessively, hoping to see a missed call or a message. Nothing came. On the 5th day, just as he was beginning to lose hope, his phone rang. Unknown Austin number. Hello? Is this Marcus Chin? It was Robert, the property manager. Marcus's heart leaped. Yes, sir. This is Marcus. The employers would like to interview you tomorrow. Saturday at 10 in the morning. Do not be late. I will be there, sir. Thank you so much. I will definitely be there on time. When Elena heard the news, she screamed with joy and threw her arms around him. I told you. I told you God would answer our prayers. That night, Elena helped Marcus prepare for the interview. She washed and ironed his best outfit, a button-down shirt and slacks he had not worn since his last failed job interview 6 months ago. She made sure everything was perfect, even buying him a new tie with money she had been saving for groceries. You have to make a good impression, she said, inspecting him critically. These people are wealthy. They will be looking at everything. How you present yourself, how you speak, how you carry yourself. I know, baby. I will be careful. I will be professional. And remember, you are educated. You are not just some random person looking for a job. You have a degree from UT. You have knowledge. Let them see your value. Saturday morning arrived with Marcus's stomach in knots. He dressed carefully, grateful for Elena's attention to detail. When he looked at himself in the small bathroom mirror, he saw a man who looked almost professional. Almost. He arrived at the Terrytown house at exactly 9:45, 15 minutes early. Robert answered the door with an appraising look. You clean up well, Robert admitted. But listen carefully before you go inside. This house is owned by 2 women, business partners who run a very successful consulting firm. They are both your potential employers. Nobody is more important than the other. Treat them with equal respect. Do you understand? Yes, sir. 2 employers. Equal respect. I understand. Good. And one more thing. These women have very progressive views about certain things. Watch what you say. Think before you speak. They do not tolerate outdated attitudes or casual sexism. Marcus nodded, though he did not fully understand what Robert meant. He would find out soon enough. Robert led him through the impressive house. Hardwood floors, designer furniture, original artwork on the walls, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking a pool and the Austin skyline. This was wealth beyond anything Marcus had experienced personally. They walked through a spacious living room where two women sat on a sleek gray sectional sofa, each with a laptop, engaged in what appeared to be a business discussion. They stopped talking as Robert and Marcus entered. "Good morning, ladies," Robert said with a respectful nod. "This is Marcus Chin, the young man who applied for the chef position." Both women turned their attention to Marcus, and he felt like a specimen under a microscope. The first woman was tall and striking, probably in her mid-30s, with dark hair pulled back in a sleek ponytail and sharp features that suggested both intelligence and intensity. She wore designer jeans and a crisp white blouse, minimal jewelry and no-nonsense black-framed glasses. There was something commanding in her presence. The second woman was slightly shorter with blonde highlights, warmer features and an athletic build. She wore yoga pants and an expensive-looking tank top, and her expression was friendlier than her companions, but no less assessing. "Good morning," Marcus said, his voice steady despite his nervousness. "Come closer," the dark-haired woman commanded. This, Marcus would learn, was Jordan. He took several steps forward, standing at a respectful distance with his hands clasped in front of him. "What is your full name and tell us about your background?" Jordan asked. "My name is Marcus Chin. I graduated from the University of Texas with a degree in finance and economics." The blonde woman, whose name was Ashley, leaned forward slightly. "You have a finance degree? So why are you applying for a chef position?" This was it. The moment Marcus had been dreading and preparing for. He decided honesty was the best approach. "The job market has been difficult, ma'am. Finance positions require years of experience, but nobody wants to give you that first opportunity. They also want connections, people who can vouch for you. I have neither experience nor the right connections. So I do what I can to survive while continuing to look for opportunities." Jordan's eyebrows rose with interest. "That is actually quite honest. Most people try to spin their situation into something more palatable. I have found that honesty usually works better in the long run, ma'am." "Smart," Ashley said. "So can you actually cook, or were you just attracted to the salary and the posting?" This was his moment. Marcus knew he needed to make an impression, to show confidence without arrogance. "Ma'am, I may not have culinary school training, but I grew up cooking with my mother, who was an incredible cook despite working 2 jobs. I have spent years refining my skills, studying techniques, learning about flavor profiles and presentation. I am confident I can exceed your expectations." Much better than his first instinct, which had been to say something about cooking better than most people. He had caught himself just in time. Jordan stood up, her full height making her even more imposing. "We appreciate confidence, but we will need proof. Can you handle a professional kitchen?" "Absolutely." Ashley seemed satisfied with this response. "Good. Now let us discuss the actual position. We need someone who can manage the household comprehensively. That includes preparing all meals, maintaining the living spaces, handling laundry, managing grocery shopping and supplies, and generally ensuring the house runs smoothly. Robert handles property maintenance and landscaping, so you would not need to worry about that. Can you handle all of this?" "Yes, ma'am." "Absolutely. And the salary," Marcus ventured carefully, "may I ask what the compensation would be?" Jordan and Ashley exchanged a glance. "We are prepared to offer $65,000 annually to start, with potential for raises based on performance," Jordan said. Marcus's breath caught in his throat. $65,000. That was more than he had made in the past 2 years combined. This was life-changing money. "I can start immediately, ma'am. Today if you need me to." Ashley smiled for the first time. "Eager. That is good. But we have one more question. Are you in a relationship?" The question caught Marcus off guard. Yes. Yes, I have a girlfriend. We have been together for 5 years." "Serious?" Jordan asked. "Very serious." "I see," Jordan said, and there was something in her tone that Marcus could not quite identify. "We ask because there may be times when we need you to be available very early in the morning or late at night for events or business dinners. Would that be a problem?" Marcus thought of Elena and the promise he had made to always come home. But this salary, this opportunity, it was too important to jeopardize over logistics. "I am very flexible with my schedule. I can be here whenever you need me." "Good," Jordan said. "There is also the option of staying here full-time. We have a guest suite that could be yours if you prefer to live on-site. It would make early mornings and late nights easier." "That is very generous. I would be open to discussing that arrangement." "Very well," Jordan said. "Let us see what you can do. Go to the kitchen and prepare lunch for the 3 of us. Robert will show you where everything is. Surprise us. Show us your skills." Marcus bowed slightly. Thank you, ma'am. I will not disappoint you. The kitchen was spectacular. Viking range, Sub-Zero refrigerator, every appliance and tool a chef could dream of. The refrigerator was stocked with premium ingredients, organic produce, grass-fed meats, artisanal cheeses. Marcus took a deep breath and let his instincts take over. He decided to prepare something that showcased both technique and creativity. Pan-seared salmon with a citrus glaze, roasted Brussels sprouts with bacon and balsamic reduction, wild rice pilaf with herbs, and a simple arugula salad with lemon vinaigrette. As he worked, his confidence grew. This was something he was truly good at. His hands moved with practiced efficiency, seasoning, sautéing, plating. The aromas that filled the kitchen were incredible. 40 minutes later, he presented his creation to Jordan, Ashley, and Robert on beautiful white plates he found in the cabinet. He had even taken time to arrange everything aesthetically, the way he had seen in cooking shows. The three of them took their first bites in silence. Marcus held his breath. Then Ashley's eyes widened. Oh my God. Jordan took another bite, then another, her expression transforming from skeptical to genuinely impressed. This is exceptional, Jordan admitted. Really exceptional. Where did you say you trained? My mother's kitchen in Round Rock, ma'am. And years of practice and study on my own. Ashley set down her fork and looked at Jordan. He has the job. Jordan nodded. Agreed. Marcus, welcome to our household. Can you start Monday? Marcus wanted to jump, to shout, to run to Elena and tell her their prayers had been answered. Instead, he maintained his composure and simply smiled. Thank you so much. I promise I will exceed your expectations. I will work very hard. As Robert escorted him to the door, Marcus could barely contain his excitement. The moment he was outside the gate, he pulled out his phone to call Elena. Baby, I got it. I got the job. Elena's scream of joy could probably be heard across the parking lot. $65,000 a year. Can you believe it? They talked for 20 minutes, making plans, calculating savings, imagining their future together. That night, they celebrated at their favorite taco truck, the cheapest champagne they could find mixed with orange juice in plastic cups. To new beginnings, Elena said, raising her cup. To us, Marcus replied. To finally catching a break. What he did not know yet was that Jordan and Ashley's household held secrets and complications that would test everything he thought he knew about himself. Marcus's first 2 weeks in the household passed smoothly. He arrived each morning at 6, prepared breakfast, maintained the house, handled laundry, and prepared lunch and dinner according to Jordan and Ashley's preferences and dietary restrictions. The work was demanding, but compared to moving furniture in the Texas heat while being insulted by people like Mrs. Vanderbilt, this felt like a dream. The house itself was a revelation. He learned that Jordan and Ashley were partners in a boutique management consulting firm that specialized in helping tech startups scale their operations. They had met at business school at Stanford, started their company 8 years ago with almost nothing, and had built it into a multi-million-dollar operation. They were both unmarried, both fiercely independent, and both passionate advocates for women in business and gender equality. Marcus heard them often, either in person or during their video calls with clients and other professional women, discussing the challenges women faced in the business world. The double standard is insane, Jordan would say passionately during their evening wine sessions on the back patio. A man is confident, a woman is aggressive. A man negotiates hard, a woman is difficult. A man focuses on his career, he is ambitious. A woman does the same, she is cold and unfeminine. Exactly, Ashley would agree. And do not even get me started on the marriage trap. Society tells women they are incomplete without a partner, that career success does not count if you are alone. It is designed to keep us small. Marcus found their perspectives interesting if sometimes extreme. He said nothing, of course. He was the help, and his opinions were neither requested nor relevant. He simply did his job, collected his generous salary, and went home to Elena each evening. True to his promise, he was saving aggressively. Out of his approximately $5,400 monthly take-home pay, he and Elena had agreed to live on just $1,500 and save the rest. It was tight, especially with Elena's modest salary, but they managed. In their minds, every dollar saved was one step closer to their dream of buying a small condo and getting married. But as the weeks passed, Marcus began to notice things that made him uncomfortable. It started with the way Ashley looked at him. At first, he dismissed it as his imagination. But the glances became more frequent, more lingering. When he served her meals, her fingers would brush against his just a bit too long. When he was working in the living room while she was on her laptop, he could feel her eyes following his movements. Then came the day she called him to her bedroom to help rearrange some furniture. It was a simple enough request, but when he arrived she was wearing workout clothes that were tighter and more revealing than what she normally wore around the house. "Marcus, I need you to move that dresser to the opposite wall," she said, gesturing casually. He moved the heavy piece of furniture, very aware of her eyes on him the entire time. When he finished, slightly out of breath from the exertion, she smiled. "You are stronger than you look. I like that." "Thank you, ma'am," he replied, edging toward the door. "Is there anything else you need?" "Not right now. But Marcus." "Yes, ma'am?" "You can call me Ashley when we are alone. No need for all the ma'am business. It makes me feel old." "As you wish, Ashley." He left quickly, his heart pounding. This was dangerous territory. He knew it instinctively. That evening he mentioned it to Devin, his friend who had sent him the job listing in the first place. They met at a dive bar in their old neighborhood, drinking cheap beer and talking quietly. "Man, I think one of my bosses is checking me out," Marcus confessed. Devin, who was streetwise and cynical in a way Marcus had never quite managed to be, laughed. "Which one? The intense dark-haired one or the blonde?" "Ashley." "The blonde." "Called it. I knew this would happen. These rich women, when they see a young, good-looking guy like you, especially someone they have power over, they cannot help themselves. But Devin, this is dangerous. What if she tries something? I cannot afford to lose this job. And I love Elena. I do not want anything to mess up what we have." Devin took a long sip of his beer and looked at Marcus with an expression that was part amusement, part calculation. "Marcus, let me tell you something. You are thinking about this all wrong." "What do you mean?" "I mean, you are looking at this situation as a problem when it is actually an opportunity." Marcus frowned. "I do not understand. These two women have serious money, right?" "Obviously. And they are both single, both probably lonely even if they would never admit it publicly. So, if one or both of them is interested in you, why not use that to your advantage?" Marcus stared at his friend in disbelief. "Are you suggesting I should sleep with my bosses for money?" "I am suggesting you should be strategic. Look, you love Elena, right? You want to give her a good life, marry her properly, buy a house together?" "Of course." "Then think about it differently. These women have resources they are willing to spend. If they are attracted to you, they will want to help you, to invest in you, to make you successful so they can feel good about being with you. You do not have to sleep with anyone if you do not want to. But you can let them think there is a possibility. You can let them compete for your attention. And in the process, you get what you need to build a real future with Elena." That sounds like manipulation. It is strategy. There is a difference. These women preach all day about female empowerment and not needing men, but look at them. Both alone, both clearly wanting something they publicly claim to not need. They are hypocrites. Why should you not benefit from their hypocrisy? "I do not know, Devin. It feels wrong." "You know what else feels wrong? Watching your mom kill herself working double shifts at that nursing home because her salary is not enough. Watching Elena live in that tiny studio with no air conditioning, working herself to exhaustion for 35 grand a year. Moving furniture while people like Mrs. Vanderbilt treat you like garbage. That feels wrong too." They sat in silence for a while, both nursing their beers. "Just think about it," Devin finally said. "I am not telling you to become a con artist. I am just saying be aware of the opportunity in front of you. Be smart. These women, they will not be the victims here. They have money, power, privilege. If anything happens, they are the ones in control. You would just be playing the game that already exists." Marcus went home that night with his mind spinning. He found Elena waiting for him with dinner prepared, her face lighting up when he walked through the door. "How was work, baby?" she asked, kissing his cheek. "It was fine. The usual. Cooking, cleaning." "And Jordan and Ashley? Are they treating you well?" "Yes, they are good bosses." Elena studied his face. "You seem distracted. Is everything okay?" He pulled her close, breathing in the familiar scent of her hair. "Everything is perfect. I'm just tired." But as he held her, Devin's words echoed in his mind. "These women have money. Be smart. Use the opportunity." He pushed the thoughts away. He loved Elena. He would never betray her. Whatever happened, he would handle it with integrity. Or so he told himself. It was Jordan who made the next move, though her approach was more subtle than Ashley's. Marcus had been working for them for about 6 weeks when Jordan started inviting him to her home office for what she called professional development conversations. The office was an elegant room with built-in bookshelves, a standing desk with multiple monitors and floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Austin skyline. She would summon him under various pretenses. She wanted his input on a meal plan for an upcoming client dinner, she had questions about restocking the pantry, she needed his help understanding a household budget issue. But Emmanuel noticed that these sessions were becoming longer and more personal. One afternoon, while he was supposedly helping her organize some files, Jordan started asking about his background. So Marcus, tell me more about yourself. You mentioned you graduated from UT. What was your experience like there? It was good, ma'am. I worked hard, graduated with honors. I thought I had a real shot at a career in finance. Jordan leaned back in her expensive ergonomic chair, studying him with newfound interest. And then the economy happened. Exactly. By the time I graduated, everyone wanted 5 years of experience and connections I did not have. I have been hustling ever since, trying to survive while looking for a real opportunity. That is the system working exactly as it is designed, Jordan said, anger creeping into her voice. Keep people desperate, keep them competing for scraps, keep them so worried about survival that they cannot organize for real change. I never thought about it that way. Most people do not. That is why the system persists. She paused. You know, when Ashley and I were building our business, we faced similar obstacles. People did not take us seriously because we were women. Investors wanted to fund the mediocre ideas of Stanford bros over our solid business plan. But we proved them wrong. We did not let the system's limitations define us. That is really inspiring. Call me Jordan. When we are alone like this, you can call me Jordan. If you say so, Jordan. She smiled, and there was something warm in that smile that went beyond employer and employee. Tell me, Marcus. You mentioned you have a girlfriend. Serious relationship? The question caught him off guard. Very serious. We have been together for 5 years. And she supports you? Even though you are in this situation. She is my biggest supporter. She believes in me even when I do not believe in myself. Jordan nodded slowly, but there was something in her expression that looked almost like disappointment. She sounds special. Hold on to that. Real partnership, the kind that survives difficulty, is rare. The conversation shifted to other topics, but Marcus left the office feeling unsettled. There was something in the way Jordan had looked at him, the way she had asked about Elena, that suggested more than professional interest. His suspicions were confirmed a few days later. It was a Saturday and both Jordan and Ashley were home, which was unusual. Typically, at least one of them was at the office or meeting with clients. Marcus had prepared brunch, a spread of eggs Benedict, fresh fruit, artisan bread, and mimosas, and was cleaning up the kitchen when he heard raised voices from the living room. He could not help but overhear. The house's open floor plan meant sound carried easily. I am just saying, we need to examine the gap between what we preach and what we actually want, Jordan was saying. We tell young women all the time not to define themselves by relationships with men, but here we are, both single, both successful, both lonely. Does that make us hypocrites? We are not lonely, Ashley countered. We are independent. There is a difference. Are we though? Independent, yes. Fulfilled, successful, financially secure. But completely satisfied with our personal lives? I am not sure I am anymore. What brought this on? There was a pause. I have been thinking lately about what we sacrifice for our success. We have money, yes. We have professional respect. But sometimes, in the quiet moments, I wonder if we missed out on something important by focusing only on our careers. You are talking about romantic relationships. I am talking about connection. Real connection. Not these useless tech bros who match with us on the apps just to brag about dating successful women. I am talking about someone genuine, someone who sees us as people first and successful businesswomen second. Marcus realized he should move away, that he was eavesdropping on a private conversation. But something kept him rooted to the spot. Someone like our new chef, you mean? Ashley's voice had a teasing quality. What? No. I did not say that. But you were thinking it. Come on, Jordan. I've seen how you look at him. I have seen how you find reasons to call him into your office. You are imagining things. Am I? Then why does your whole demeanor change whenever he walks into a room? This is ridiculous. He is our employee. Nothing more. He is also intelligent, attractive, respectful, and clearly well-educated. And unlike the men in our social circle, he is not trying to compete with us or diminish our success. Can you blame either of us for noticing? So Ashley had noticed too. Marcus's heart began to race. We cannot, Jordan said firmly. It would be inappropriate. We are his employers. There is a power imbalance. Since when do you care about power imbalances? We are feminists, remember? We believe in equality. If a male CEO can date his assistant, why can a female entrepreneur not be interested in her chef? That is not the same thing and you know it. What? Because society says so? I thought we did not let society dictate our choices. The conversation continued, but Marcus had heard enough. He quietly retreated to his room in the guest suite, his mind reeling. Both of them. Both Jordan and Ashley were attracted to him. He thought about calling Elena, telling her everything, asking for advice. But what would he say? That his wealthy employers found him attractive? Elena was already sometimes insecure about the amount of time he spent at the house. This information would only make things worse. Instead he called Devin. Man, you were right, Marcus said without preamble. Both of them. I just overheard them talking. They are both interested. Devin's laughter was loud and delighted. I told you this would happen. So what are you going to do? I do not know. This is getting complicated. Complicated? This is perfect. Marcus, do you realize what you have here? Two wealthy women competing for the attention of the same man? This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It feels wrong, Devin. Then make it right. Think about Elena. Think about your future. These women, they have everything. What do you have? Nothing. You are surviving on their generosity. But what if you could change that? What if you could turn this situation into the capital you need to start your own business, to build real wealth? You are talking about conning them. I am talking about using the resources available to you. Look, these women are not innocents. They are successful businesswomen who understand how the world works. They know what they are doing. If they choose to invest in you, whether emotionally or financially, that is their choice. Your job is just to position yourself as worthy of that investment. And how do I do that? You be smart. You pay attention. When they make a move, you respond carefully. You do not sleep with them unless you absolutely have to, because that complicates things. But you let them think that maybe, possibly, if the conditions were right, something could happen. You make them want to help you succeed because they believe that your success could lead to something more. That is manipulation. It is strategy. And let me ask you something. If you do not take advantage of this opportunity, you will always wonder what if. And someone else, someone with fewer scruples than you, would jump at this chance. Why should you suffer in poverty just because you are too ethical to be smart? Marcus did not have an answer to that. Over the next few weeks, he found himself in an increasingly delicate dance. Jordan would call him to her office for conversations that had nothing to do with work. They would talk about economics, politics, life goals. She would share stories from her past, her struggles building the business, her complicated relationship with her wealthy family who had never taken her seriously. And she would listen to him with genuine interest when he talked about his own dreams. Ashley, meanwhile, became more physically forward. She would brush past him in hallways, her body making contact just a bit too long to be accidental. She would ask him to help her with tasks that did not really require help, always finding ways to get him alone, to create opportunities for intimacy. Marcus maintained a careful balance. He was respectful but not cold. He was helpful but not eager. He shared enough of himself to seem genuine but not so much that he appeared to be pursuing either of them. And all the while, he went home to Elena most nights, holding her close, making love to her with a passion that was partly genuine affection and partly guilt for the game he was beginning to play. Elena noticed the change in him. You seem different lately, she observed one night as they lay in her small bed. More confident. The job is good for me, Marcus replied, which was not entirely a lie. I feel like I am using my brain again, having real conversations about business and strategy. It reminds me that I am more than just a laborer. I am so proud of you, baby. And look at how much we have saved already. Almost $12,000 in just 2 months. At this rate, by next year, we will have enough for a down payment on a small condo. Marcus kissed her forehead, pushing away the voice in his mind that whispered he might soon have access to much more than $12,000. I love you, Elena. No matter what happens, I want you to remember that I love you. She laughed. Why are you being so serious? Nothing is going to happen. We are finally on the right track. Our future is coming together. If only she knew how complicated that future was about to become. The turning point came on a Thursday evening, 3 months into Marcus's employment. Ashley had flown to San Francisco for a pitch meeting and would not be back until Sunday. Jordan was home alone and she had asked Marcus to prepare dinner for one, something special. He prepared an ambitious meal, pan-roasted duck breast with cherry reduction, roasted root vegetables, creamy polenta, and for dessert, a chocolate lava cake. He served it in the formal dining room on the good china, with a bottle of expensive Pinot Noir from Jordan's wine cellar. When he brought the first course, Jordan was dressed in a way he had never seen before. Not her usual business casual, but a flowing dress that was elegant and subtly alluring. Her hair was down, her makeup was carefully applied, and she had obviously taken time to prepare herself for the evening. "Sit with me," she said as he set down her plate. "Jordan, I do not think. I'm not asking. Sit." Hesitantly, Marcus sat across from her at the large dining table. She poured wine into a second glass and slid it toward him. "To possibilities," she said, raising her glass. He had no choice but to toast with her. The wine was exceptional, smooth and complex, unlike anything he had tasted before. As they ate, Jordan steered the conversation in unexpected directions. "Tell me about your dreams, Marcus. If money were no object, if you could do anything, what would you do?" He thought carefully before answering. This felt important. "I have always wanted to create a fintech company," he said honestly. "A platform that makes financial services accessible to everyone, not just people with money. Mobile banking, easy international transfers, microloans for small businesses. I have studied the market, looked at what is working in other countries. I believe the US is ready for something more inclusive. The only thing missing is the capital to start." Jordan's eyes lit up with genuine interest. "That is a fantastic idea. How much capital would you need to do it right? Business registration, initial technology development, salaries for a small team, legal fees, marketing? I estimate about $200,000 to launch properly." He expected her to laugh or dismiss it as unrealistic. Instead, she leaned forward. "Do you have a business plan?" "Yes. I have been working on it for 3 years. I have everything mapped out. Market analysis, competitive landscape, revenue projections, risk assessment. Everything. I want to see it." "Seriously?" "Seriously. Marcus, I did not build a successful business by ignoring good ideas when I see them. If your plan is solid, if it shows real potential, why should you not get the chance to pursue it?" For the first time since this entire situation began, Marcus felt a genuine spark of hope. Maybe this was real. Maybe Jordan was actually interested in his ideas, not just in him as a person. They talked for 3 hours about fintech, about technology, about financial inclusion and the future of banking. Jordan was incredibly knowledgeable and asked sharp, insightful questions. Marcus found himself relaxing, enjoying the conversation, genuinely impressed by her business acumen. When the evening finally wound down and Marcus prepared to leave, Jordan walked him to the door of the guest suite. "Bring me that business plan tomorrow," she said. "I am very serious about this." "Thank you, Jordan. This means more than you know." She touched his arm lightly, her hand lingering. "You are talented, Marcus. You deserve a chance to prove it. Maybe we could be partners in this." As Marcus lay in bed that night, his mind was racing. Partners. She had said partners. This could be it. This could be the break he had been waiting for. The next morning, he presented his business plan to Jordan in her office. She spent 3 hours going through it page by page, asking questions, making notes, nodding approvingly at various sections. "This is impressive work," she finally said. "Really impressive. You have thought through everything. The market analysis alone is better than half the pitch decks I see from Stanford grads. So what do you think? Is it viable?" Jordan closed the folder and looked at him directly. "I think you are going to be very successful, Marcus. With the right support and mentorship, you could build something significant. And you would be willing to provide that support?" "Yes. But on one condition." Marcus's heart sank. Here it comes, he thought. The catch. What condition? Jordan stood and walked around her desk, leaning against it so she was closer to him. "I need to know that you are serious, that you are fully committed, that this is not just a fantasy you will abandon when things get difficult." "I'm serious. I have never been more serious about anything in my life." "Then prove it. Move in here full-time. Stop going back to your girlfriend's apartment every night. Stay here, focus on developing this business. Let me mentor you, guide you through the process of turning this plan into reality. Let me invest in you not just financially but with my time, my expertise, my network." Marcus's mouth went dry. Move in full-time. Be close to her constantly. He could already imagine Elena's reaction to that suggestion. "I do not know if that is necessary." "It is necessary if you want me to take this seriously. I'm not going to invest $200,000 in someone who is not fully committed. You want to be an entrepreneur? Then act like one. Entrepreneurs sacrifice. They go all in on their vision. But I have obligations. People who depend on me." "Your girlfriend, you mean?" Jordan's expression softened slightly. "I understand. But Marcus, if you truly love her, the best thing you can do is secure your financial future so you can give her the life she deserves. A few months of intense focus now could mean a lifetime of security for both of you. She was right. He knew she was right. But there was something else in her eyes, something hungry and patient and dangerous. Let me think about it, he said. Do not think too long. Opportunities like this do not wait forever. Marcus left work early that day, his mind in turmoil. He met Devon at a coffee shop and laid out the situation. She wants me to move in full-time. She is offering to invest $200,000 in my business idea, but only if I commit completely by living there permanently. Devon whistled low. $200,000. That is serious seed money. I know. It is exactly what I need to actually launch the platform. So what is the problem? Elena. How do I explain to her that I am moving in full-time with two unmarried women, one of whom is clearly interested in me romantically? You tell her the truth. That this is a business opportunity. That you are not going to compromise your relationship. That you love her and this is all for your future together. You think she will understand? Does it matter? Marcus, you have spent 5 years struggling, hustling, taking whatever work you could get just to survive. Now someone is offering you $200,000 to pursue your actual dream. Your real passion, the business you have been planning for years. If Elena really loves you, she will support you. And if she does not, then maybe she is not the right partner for the journey you are about to take. Marcus knew Devon was manipulating him, pushing him toward a decision that served Devon's cynical worldview more than Marcus's actual interests. But he could not argue with the basic logic. This was the opportunity of a lifetime. That evening, he sat Elena down in her tiny apartment and explained the situation as carefully as he could. He framed it as purely professional, emphasizing the mentorship aspect, the networking opportunities, the chance to learn from Jordan's entrepreneurial success. Elena listened quietly, her face unreadable. When he finished, she was silent for a long moment. You want to move in with them full-time, she finally said. Temporarily. Just while we are developing the business. Elena, this is $200,000. Do you understand what that means for us? For our future. And you promise nothing will happen with her? With Jordan? I swear to you. This is business. I love you. Only you. Everything I am doing is for us. Elena's eyes filled with tears. I want to believe you, Marcus. Then believe me. Trust me. Have I ever lied to you? She shook her head slowly, tears spilling down her cheeks. No. You have not. Then trust me now. 6 months. Give me 6 months to build this business with her support, and our lives will change forever. We will be able to get married, buy a real house, never worry about money again. I promise you. Elena wiped her eyes and took a shaky breath. Okay. I will trust you. But Marcus, please. Please do not make me regret this. Do not throw away what we have for money or for her or for any of this. He pulled her into his arms, holding her tight, pushing away the guilt that gnawed at his conscience and the knowledge that he was not being entirely honest with her. You will not regret it. I promise. I love you so much. What he did not tell her was that 3 days earlier, Ashley had returned from San Francisco and made him almost the exact same offer. $200,000 to invest in his fintech startup. Same conditions. Full commitment, living in the house full-time, letting her mentor him and guide his development as an entrepreneur. Which meant that between Jordan and Ashley, without either of them knowing about the other's offer, Marcus now had access to $400,000 in startup capital. $400,000. It was more money than his parents had earned in their entire working lives combined. More than enough to launch his business properly. More than enough to change his entire life trajectory. All he had to do was keep both women believing they were his only benefactor. Keep them both invested in his success. Keep playing the game just a little longer. Devon had been right. This was the opportunity of a lifetime. And Marcus was beginning to think that maybe, just maybe, he was smart enough to pull it off. Living in the house full-time changed everything. Marcus moved into the guest suite permanently, a space larger than any apartment he had ever lived in. It had its own bathroom with a rainfall shower, a comfortable king bed, a small sitting area, and a view of the pool and the Austin skyline. It was more luxury than he had experienced in his entire life. Jordan and Ashley's bedrooms were on the second floor, separated by a hallway and a shared sitting area where they often had their evening wine and strategy sessions. He established a routine that kept him busy and gave him legitimate excuses to avoid too much one-on-one time with either woman. Wake at 5:30 in the morning, prepare breakfast for 7, clean the common areas while they were at work, handle grocery shopping and errands, prepare dinner based on whoever was home. study business materials and refine his fintech platform proposal in his free time. On the surface, it was the ideal professional arrangement. Efficient, productive, mutually beneficial. Beneath the surface, the tension was electric. Jordan began inviting him to her room in the evenings for what she called strategic planning sessions. They would sit in her private sitting area, surrounded by her books and her expensive furniture, and talk about go-to-market strategies, customer acquisition, technology infrastructure. But there were moments, fleeting but unmistakable, when the conversation would drift into more personal territory. "You have such an interesting perspective," Jordan would say, her eyes lingering on his face. "I forget sometimes that you are just the chef." "I am whatever you need me to be," Marcus would reply carefully, always maintaining just enough ambiguity to keep possibilities open without committing to anything specific. Ashley's approach was more direct. She would emerge from her room in the mornings wearing yoga outfits that left little to the imagination. She would ask him to bring her coffee in bed, to help her with minor tasks that brought them into close physical proximity. One evening, about 3 weeks after he had moved in full-time, Ashley called him to her room ostensibly to discuss some financial projections for his business plan. When he arrived, she was on her bed in athletic wear, documents spread around her, looking more like she was posing for a photo shoot than working. "Sit," she said, patting the space beside her on the bed. Marcus hesitated, then sat, maintaining what he hoped was a respectful distance. They reviewed the numbers, and Ashley was genuinely helpful, pointing out areas where his projections were too conservative, suggesting strategies for faster user growth and customer retention. But as they worked, she gradually moved closer, until her leg was pressed against his. "You know," she said softly, no longer looking at the documents, "I have been thinking about you a lot lately." Marcus's heart raced. This was it. The moment he had been anticipating and dreading. "Ashley, I appreciate everything you and Jordan are doing for me. This opportunity means everything." "But," she prompted, sensing his hesitation. "But I want to make sure we maintain professional boundaries. I do not want to do anything that would compromise our working relationship or the business partnership we are building." It was a carefully crafted response. He was not rejecting her, but he was not accepting either. He was creating space for possibility while maintaining plausible deniability. Ashley studied his face for a long moment, then smiled in a way that was both understanding and patient. "You are smart. I appreciate that. Take your time, Marcus. When you are ready, you will know where to find me." She stood and walked to her bathroom, pausing at the door to look back at him with an expression that was pure invitation, then closed the door behind her. Marcus fled to his room, his hands shaking. He called Elena, needing to hear her voice to remember why he was doing this. "Hey baby," she answered, the sound of her smile audible even over the phone. "How is everything?" "It is good. Busy. How are you?" "How was school today?" "Exhausting. One of the kids threw up all over the reading corner, and we had a fire drill in the middle of math time. The usual chaos." She laughed, and the sound made his chest ache. "I miss you though. It has been almost a month since I have actually seen you in person." Marcus had been carefully avoiding this topic. He had been so focused on maintaining the delicate balance with Jordan and Ashley that he had not made time to actually see Elena face to face. "I know, baby. I'm sorry. Things are just really intense with the business development. But soon, okay? Very soon I will have a free evening and we can have dinner, just the two of us. I am holding you to that. I love you. I love you too. So much." After he hung up, Marcus lay on his expensive bed and stared at the ceiling. He was in too deep now. Both Jordan and Ashley had made their intentions increasingly clear. Both had promised to invest in his business. But neither knew about the other's offer. He needed to talk to Devin. They met the next day at a completely different location, a sports bar in Round Rock far from Terrytown where there was zero chance of running into anyone from Marcus's new world. "So they are both making serious moves," Devin said after Marcus had explained the latest developments. "This is perfect, man. Absolutely perfect." "Perfect?" "Devin, this is getting really complicated. What if they find out about each other? What if they realize I have been playing them both? Then you need to make absolutely sure they do not find out. Look, you have gotten this far. You have secured promises of $400,000 total. Now you just need to actually get the money transferred before either of them realizes what is happening." "And how exactly do I do that?" Devin leaned forward, his voice dropping to barely above a whisper. "You create urgency. Make them both think that time is running out, that they need to commit now or risk losing you. Competition is your friend here. You want me to make them compete against each other? They are already competing whether they fully realize it or not. You just need to make it more obvious. Let Jordan see Ashley showing interest. Let Ashley see Jordan making moves. Women are competitive, especially successful women who are used to winning. Neither of them will want to lose to the other. This feels really wrong. $400,000, Marcus. $400,000. Think about what you can do with that kind of capital. You actually launch your fintech platform, you marry Elena, you set up your whole family financially. Your mom never has to work double shifts again. Your dad can actually enjoy retirement. Elena's parents would be thrilled to have you as a son-in-law. This is life-changing money we are talking about. Marcus knew Devon was exaggerating the impact, but $400,000 was still an enormous sum. More than enough to change his life completely. Okay, he said finally. Okay. So what specifically should I do? Start actually asking both of them to transfer the money. Tell them you have found a developer who can build the platform, but he needs a significant deposit to start. Tell them the business registration and legal setup has to start immediately. Create pressure. Make them act before they have time to think too carefully. Over the next 2 weeks, Marcus carefully implemented Devon's strategy. He told Jordan that he had connected with a talented software developer from his UT network who was willing to build the fintech platform, but the developer needed $200,000 upfront to leave his current job and assemble a small team. I hate to ask, Marcus said, sitting in Jordan's office with carefully crafted vulnerability, but is there any way to accelerate the investment timeline? This developer is being recruited by other startups. If I do not secure him now with a deposit, I might lose this opportunity entirely. Jordan looked at him thoughtfully. $200,000 is a significant sum, Marcus. I know. And I completely understand if you need more time to think about it or if you want to reconsider. I just wanted to be transparent about the time pressure. Let me review everything again, Jordan said. I will give you an answer by Friday. That evening, he had an almost identical conversation with Ashley, using the same developer story, the same urgency, the same humble request. Ashley's response was more immediate. If you need the money, I can have it transferred next week. Really? That would be incredible, Ashley. But I need something from you first, Marcus. His stomach tightened. What do you need? Ashley stood and walked around her desk, stopping directly in front of him, close enough that he could smell her expensive perfume. I need to know that you see this as more than just a business transaction. That you see me as more than just an investor. I do see you as more than an investor. You have been a mentor, a guide. That is not what I mean. Her voice was soft but intense. I am talking about us. About you and me. Marcus, I have not felt this attracted to someone in years. I know it is complicated. I know there are professional boundaries. But I also know that what I feel is real. So before I invest $200,000 in you, I need to know, is there a chance for something between us? This was the moment. Marcus could feel the entire con balanced on a knife's edge. He looked into Ashley's eyes and saw genuine desire there, mixed with hope and vulnerability. She was rich, successful, powerful. But in this moment, she was just a woman who wanted to be wanted, who was tired of being alone, who was hoping he might be different from all the men who had disappointed her before. He chose his words very, very carefully. I would be lying if I said I had not thought about you in that way, he said, which was technically true, though not remotely in the way she would interpret it. You are brilliant, successful, beautiful. Any man would be attracted to you. But, Ashley prompted. But I need to be smart about this. I have a future to build, and I cannot afford to make impulsive decisions that could jeopardize everything. What I can tell you honestly is that I value you deeply, I respect you immensely, and I am incredibly grateful for everything you are doing for me. It was a masterclass in saying everything and nothing simultaneously. Ashley seemed satisfied with this non-answer. She was hearing what she wanted to hear. Okay. I can be patient. But Marcus, do not make me wait forever. She leaned in and kissed his cheek softly, her lips lingering just a moment too long, then stepped back. I will have my accountant transfer the money to your account on Monday. Marcus left her room feeling like he had just walked a tightrope across the Grand Canyon. The next morning, Jordan called him to her office before he had even started preparing breakfast. I have made a decision about your funding request, she said without preamble. Marcus's heart leaped into his throat. And? I want to invest in your business. But not just as a passive investor. I want to be an actual partner. 50-50 equity split. I contribute the capital and my business expertise, you contribute the vision and the operational leadership. We build it together as true partners. This was actually more than Marcus had hoped for. A legitimate partnership meant he could actually build the business without it being pure fraud. That sounds perfect, he said, and he meant it. Good. Provide me with your bank account information. I will have the $200,000 transferred by end of business on Monday. Marcus gave her his account details, the same account number he had given to Ashley 2 days earlier. As he walked out of Jordan's office, the full reality of what he had just accomplished hit him like a physical force. $400,000. Actually happening. Both women had committed to transferring the money to the same account on the same day. He called Devin immediately from his room. It worked. Both of them are transferring. $200,000 each. $400,000 total. Both on Monday. Devin's laugh was triumphant and slightly manic. I told you, man. I told you this would work. Marcus, you are a genius. An actual genius. I am a con artist, Devin. You are a strategist. There is a difference. Now listen very carefully. As soon as that money hits your account on Monday, you need to move it immediately. Transfer it to a different account, preferably at a completely different bank. Then you and Elena need to disappear. Leave Austin. Leave Texas if possible. Maybe even leave the country. Devin, I have been thinking about this. What if I actually use the money to build the business? The plan is solid. The idea is good. I could legitimately create something valuable. Are you out of your mind? These women are going to realize what happened the second they compare notes. When Jordan discovers that Ashley also gave you $200,000, or when Ashley finds out about Jordan, they will both immediately understand that you played them. At that point, it does not matter if you build the best fintech platform in history. They will come after you with everything they have. Lawyers, private investigators, possibly even criminal charges. Marcus knew Devin was right. But part of him, the part that still believed he was fundamentally a good person, wanted desperately to believe there was a way to make this legitimate, to actually build something real with the money instead of just stealing it. That fantasy died on Monday afternoon when everything fell apart in the most spectacular way possible. Monday morning, Marcus woke early and checked his phone obsessively. At 9:15 a.m. the first notification came through. Wire transfer received, $200,000 from Ashley Winters. At 9:43 a.m. the second notification. Wire transfer received, $200,000 from Jordan Martinez. $400,000. In his account. Actually real. He stared at the screen, barely able to breathe. He had actually done it. The money was there. All he had to do now was transfer it and disappear before everything unraveled. But before he could even open his banking app to initiate a transfer, there was a commotion at the front gate. He heard the intercom buzzing insistently, then Robert's voice, confused and concerned. Marcus rushed to the window of his suite and looked out toward the driveway. His blood turned to ice. Elena was at the gate, trying to get past Robert, who was clearly refusing to let her in without permission from Jordan or Ashley. What was she doing here? They had agreed she would stay away from the house. She knew how important it was to keep their relationship separate from his work situation. He ran outside, his heart pounding with panic. Elena, what are you doing here? Marcus. She was carrying a bag of what looked like homemade food, and she was smiling, completely unaware of the disaster she was about to cause. Surprise. I know you said not to visit, but it has been so long and I made all your favorites and I just missed you so much that I could not stay away anymore. Jordan appeared at the front door of the house, clearly having heard the noise. Her expression was cold and furious. What is going on out here? Ashley appeared behind Jordan, drawn by the commotion. Elena looked between all of them, her smile beginning to falter as she sensed the tension. I am sorry if I am interrupting. I am Elena, Marcus's girlfriend. He told me he was working here and I just wanted to see him and bring him some food. The words hung in the air like a grenade with the pin pulled. Your girlfriend, Jordan repeated, her voice dangerously quiet. Ashley's face had gone completely pale. His girlfriend. Elena's expression shifted to confusion and concern as she looked at the two women's reactions. Yes. We have been together for 5 years. Did Marcus not mention me? Oh, he mentioned you, Jordan said, her voice dripping with venom. He just failed to mention that his relationship was still active while he was accepting our investment and making us believe that maybe, just maybe, there could be something between us and him. Elena's eyes widened with shock and hurt. What is she talking about, Marcus? Marcus opened his mouth to speak, but no words came out. What could he possibly say? Let me guess, Ashley said, her voice shaking with rage. He told you he was just working here. Probably said it was all professional. Probably promised you that he was doing everything for your future together. The look on Elena's face told everyone that Ashley had guessed correctly. "You lied to me," Elena whispered, tears starting to stream down her face. "No, baby, I did not lie. I just did not tell you everything. It is not what you think." "Not what I think?" Elena's voice rose, pain transforming into anger. "You have been living here with 2 women and you did not tell me. What else have you not told me?" Jordan stepped forward, her face a mask of barely controlled fury. "Ashley, did you by any chance transfer money to Marcus's account this morning?" Ashley's eyes went wide. "Did you?" 200,000. "You. Also 200,000. The 2 women stared at each other in shock, then turned to Marcus with identical expressions of betrayal and rage. "He played us," Jordan said flatly. "He played both of us at the same time." Ashley made a sound that was somewhere between a laugh and a sob. $400,000. "He conned us out of $400,000. Elena, forgotten in the moment, let out a broken sound. 400,000? After everything I have done for you, all the years I supported you when you had nothing, you were here running a con on rich women for money? Elena, please let me explain. I did this for us. For our future." "For our future?" Elena's laugh was bitter and terrible. "You destroyed our future, Marcus. You lied to me. You used me as cover while you manipulated these women. That is not love. That is not building a future. That is just... God, I do not even know who you are anymore." Ashley pulled out her phone. "I am calling my lawyer. And the police." "Wait," Marcus said, panic flooding his system. "The money is still in my account. I have not touched it. I will return it. Just give me a chance to explain." "Explain to the police?" Jordan cut him off. "Robert, call 911. Tell them we have a thief on the property." "No, please." Marcus was desperate now, watching everything collapse. "I will transfer the money back right now. Look, I am opening my banking app. I will send it back to both of you immediately." "Too late," Ashley said coldly. "I have already called my bank. They are reversing the transfer as we speak. Any wire transfer can be reversed within 24 hours if fraud is suspected." "I called mine as well," Jordan added. "The moment I realized what you had done." Elena was backing away, shaking her head, tears streaming down her face. "I cannot believe I defended you. I cannot believe I trusted you. I hope they put you in jail. I hope you lose everything just like you made me lose everything I thought we had." "Elena, please." But she was already running down the driveway, sobbing uncontrollably. Marcus started to go after her, but Robert blocked his path, and this time his expression was not sympathetic at all. "Sir, you need to stay right here until the police arrive." Devon's car screeched to a stop just outside the gate and Devon jumped out. "Marcus, come on, man. We need to go right now." "Who the hell is this?" Jordan demanded. "The accomplice," Ashley said bitterly. "The friend who helped plan this whole thing." Devon ignored them completely, speaking only to Marcus. "The reversals have not processed yet. I checked with my contact at your bank. You have maybe 90 minutes before they complete the process. If we move the money right now to the account I set up, we can still salvage this before it is frozen." Marcus looked at Devon, then at Jordan and Ashley's furious faces, then in the direction Elena had run. He had a choice to make. He could stay, face the consequences, try to salvage his integrity and maybe, possibly his relationship with Elena. Or he could run, take the money, and become exactly the criminal everyone now believed him to be. "I am sorry," he said to Jordan and Ashley. "I truly am. But I cannot go back to being nothing. I cannot go back to that life." He ran to Devon's car and jumped in. As they sped away, Marcus could hear Jordan screaming for Robert to get the license plate to call the police to do something. But they were already gone, racing through the Austin streets with $400,000 in an account that was about to be frozen. "Did you really set up that offshore account?" Marcus asked, his hands shaking. "Better than offshore. I have a contact in Mexico City. We wire the money there, then we cross the border before the banks can complete the freeze. By the time the Austin police figure out what happened, we will be in Mexico starting our new lives." "What about Elena? What about her?" "She made her choice, Marcus. She chose her self-righteous morality over the opportunity you were offering her. That is on her, not you. I need to see her. I need to explain." Devon cursed viciously but drove to Elena's apartment complex. Marcus jumped out and ran to her door, pounding on it desperately. Elena opened it, her face swollen from crying, her eyes red and devastated. "Why are you here?" "Because I need you to understand. Everything I did because I wanted to give you a better life. I wanted us to have what we deserve." By lying? By stealing? By betraying people who trusted you? By using the resources available to me? Those women, they are rich, Elena. They have everything. We have nothing. I was just trying to level the playing field. Elena shook her head slowly. You do not get it, do you? I did not need you to be rich, Marcus. I just needed you to be honest. I loved you exactly as you were. The man working day labor, struggling to survive, that man had integrity. He had character. This man? She gestured at him with disgust. This man I do not know. This man I cannot love. Elena, I have $400,000. Do you understand what that means? We can leave this country. We can go anywhere, be anyone. We can have the life we always dreamed about. With stolen money? Built on lies and manipulation. With money that was freely offered to me. Under false pretenses, Marcus. That is still theft. That is still fraud. Then turn me in. Call the police right now. But before you do, ask yourself, where will you be in 5 years if you stay on this path? Still working for $35,000 a year, living in this tiny apartment, watching your dreams slip further and further away? I'm offering you a way out. I am offering you everything. For a moment, just a brief moment, he thought he saw doubt in her eyes. He thought maybe he was getting through to her. Then she straightened her spine and met his gaze directly. No. I would rather struggle honestly than live comfortably on blood money. I hope they catch you, Marcus. I genuinely hope you face consequences for what you have done. And I hope that someday, when you are sitting in whatever life you build with that stolen money, you remember that you had something real with me. Something authentic. And you threw it all away because you thought money was more important than character. Marcus wanted to argue, to convince her, to make her see his perspective. But Devon was honking the horn outside, frantically, and there was no more time. I love you, Marcus said. I will always love you. And when I am settled, when I have built something real with this money, I will come back for you. Do not bother. I will not be here. I will not be waiting. Goodbye, Marcus. She closed the door in his face with a finality that felt like death. Marcus ran back to the car, his heart shattered but his resolve hardening. Did she agree to come? Devon asked as they peeled out of the parking lot. No. Drive. Just drive to Mexico. Now. They headed south toward the border, stopping only long enough to transfer the money to Devon's contacts account using a laptop Devon had brought specifically for this purpose. By the time Jordan and Ashley's banks realized what had happened and tried to freeze the funds, the money was already in Mexico, essentially untraceable through normal legal channels. Marcus and Devon crossed into Mexico at Laredo using connections Devon had cultivated, people who knew how to move individuals across borders without official documentation or records. In Mexico City, they rented a modest apartment and began the process of establishing new identities and laundering the money through various business fronts. Marcus tried calling Elena dozens of times over the next few weeks. She never answered. He sent messages, emails, even a handwritten letter. Nothing came back. He followed Texas news obsessively online, waiting for reports of criminal charges, for his name to appear in some kind of fraud investigation. But there was nothing. Jordan and Ashley had apparently decided to handle the matter privately, unwilling to publicize how thoroughly they had been deceived by their own chef. 6 months later, Marcus had established himself in Mexico City. He had started a small import-export business using a portion of the stolen money. He had a decent apartment, a used car, enough money to live comfortably. On the surface, he had achieved the life he always wanted. But every night he thought about Elena. About the way she had looked at him with such profound disappointment. About the future they could have built together if he had just been patient, if he had done things honestly, if he had valued integrity over opportunity. Devon thrived in their new situation. He had no regrets, no second thoughts. He spent his share of the money on luxury, on women, on the high life he had always wanted. He was living his dream. But Marcus could not shake the feeling that he had won the game but lost everything that actually mattered. 2 years after fleeing to Mexico, Marcus sat in the small office of his import business in Mexico City, reviewing financial statements. The business was legitimate now, profitable, growing steadily. He had used $150,000 to establish it properly, investing the rest conservatively. By any objective measure he was successful. But success felt hollow. Empty. Like ashes in his mouth. His phone rang. U.S. number he did not recognize. Hello? Marcus Chin? An unfamiliar male voice with a Texas accent. Marcus's stomach dropped. Who is this? My name is Detective Rodriguez with the Austin Police Department. I am calling regarding a fraud complaint filed against you by 2 women in Terrytown. Marcus's blood ran cold, even though he had been expecting this call for 2 years. I do not know what you are talking about. Do not insult my intelligence, Mr. Chin. We know where you are. We know what you did. And we have been working with Mexican federal authorities to locate you. If you had any real evidence or jurisdiction, you would have arrested me by now. The women in question initially chose not to pursue criminal charges due to concerns about publicity and their professional reputations. However, circumstances have recently changed. One of them, Jordan Martinez, died 3 months ago. The room tilted. Marcus gripped the edge of his desk to keep from falling out of his chair. What? Suicide. She overdosed on sleeping pills. Her therapist's notes, which became part of the investigation, mentioned you specifically. She apparently struggled with depression after the incident with you, blamed herself for being foolish enough to trust you, for believing that someone might actually care about her as a person rather than as a source of money. The walls felt like they were closing in. Marcus could not breathe. The other woman, Ashley Winters, has decided to pursue full criminal charges now. She has filed formal complaints. We are working on extradition. I did not kill anyone. No, but you contributed to her death. Your fraud, your manipulation, your deliberate exploitation of her vulnerabilities, it destroyed something in her. And now her former business partner wants justice. She wants you to face consequences. The detective hung up. Marcus sat in stunned silence. Jordan was dead. The woman who had genuinely believed in his business idea, who had wanted to mentor him, who had foolishly hoped that maybe he saw her as more than just a mark. Dead. He thought about her in her office, reviewing his business plan with genuine excitement and interest. He thought about how her eyes had lit up when she talked about being partners, about building something meaningful together. He thought about the vulnerability in her voice when she had asked him to move in full-time, to commit to the vision they could create together. And he had used all of that. He had weaponized her loneliness, her hope, her desire for authentic connection. Emmanuel called Devin, who was currently in Colombia living a life of leisure. Did you hear? Marcus asked. Hear what? Jordan killed herself. She is dead. The Austin police called me. They are working on extradition. There was a long pause on the line. That is unfortunate about the woman. But the extradition thing is just a scare tactic. Mexico and the US have complicated extradition laws. You are probably safe there unless they can prove major federal crimes. A woman is dead, Devin. Dead because of what we did to her. A woman we never physically harmed, never threatened, never forced to do anything. She made her own choices, Marcus. She chose to invest in you. She chose to develop feelings. Those were her decisions. We manipulated her. We exploited her loneliness and her vulnerabilities for money. We played a game that she was also playing. She was trying to use her wealth and status to attract a younger man. It did not work out the way she planned. That is not on us. How can you be so cold about this? A human being is dead. Because guilt is expensive, my friend. You want to waste your life feeling bad about someone who was stupid enough to fall for a basic con? Go ahead. But I am going to enjoy the life we worked hard to create. Marcus hung up, disgusted with Devin but even more disgusted with himself. That night he got extremely drunk at a local bar. When he stumbled back to his apartment, he found an envelope that had been slipped under his door. Mexican postage but a Texas return address. It was from Elena. His hands shook violently as he opened it. Marcus, I heard about Jordan Martinez. I heard that the police are looking for you, that you are hiding somewhere in Latin America. Part of me feels vindicated. I told you there would be consequences for your actions. But mostly I just feel sad. Profoundly, deeply sad. I loved you. I loved the man I thought you were. The man who struggled with dignity, who had dreams but maintained his integrity, who valued character over money. I would have married that man. I would have built a life with him even if it meant struggling for many more years. But you chose differently. You chose to become someone I cannot love. Someone I do not even recognize. I hope the money was worth it. I hope it has brought you the happiness and security you thought it would. Because from what I can see from here, you have everything you wanted and nothing that actually matters. I have moved on. I am engaged now to a man I met through friends. He is a social worker, makes about what I make as a teacher. We will never be rich. But he is honest, kind, and real. He sees me as a partner, as an equal. We are building something authentic together. I am writing this not to hurt you but to truly say goodbye forever. I forgive you, Marcus. Not because you deserve forgiveness, but because I refuse to carry hatred in my heart for someone who is not worth that emotional energy. But forgiveness does not mean reconciliation. We are done. Permanently. Please do not ever contact me again. I hope you find peace, though I doubt you will. Because I think you are more trapped now than you ever were when you were doing day labor in the Texas heat. Goodbye, Elena. Marcus read the letter 3 times, tears streaming down his face. She had moved on. She was happy. She had found what he had thrown away: genuine partnership, honest love, a future built on truth instead of deception. He pulled out his laptop and began to write. Not a business plan this time, but a confession. A detailed account of the con, the manipulation, the choices he had made and the rationalizations he had used to justify them. He wrote about Jordan, about the crushing guilt he felt over her death. He wrote about Elena, about the authentic love he had destroyed for money. He wrote about Devin and how his friend had pushed him toward darkness. He wrote about his own weakness, his own choices, his own culpability. When he finished hours later, he had a document that was part confession, part apology, part warning to others who might be tempted down the same path. He sent it to Ashley's email address, which he still had from their business correspondence. The next morning his phone rang. "Ashley, I got your letter," she said. Her voice was cold but controlled. "I'm sorry. For everything. I know sorry means nothing, but I need you to know I never intended for anyone to die. I was just trying to survive, to get ahead in a system that seemed rigged against me. By destroying other people? That was your solution." "Yes, and I was wrong. Profoundly, terribly wrong." Ashley was quiet for a long moment. "Do you have any of the money left?" "Most of it. I only used what I needed to start the business and live modestly. I want it back. Not for me. For Jordan's family. She had a mother in a nursing home who depended on her financial support. When Jordan died, that support disappeared. You took Jordan's money and indirectly, you destroyed her mother's security in her final years." Marcus had not even thought about that. About the ripple effects of his actions beyond the immediate victims. About all the people who had depended on Jordan's success and stability. "How much do you want?" $350,000. Keep 50 for yourself. Use it to build something legitimate, something that actually helps people instead of harming them. But send me $350,000 within the week, or I will make sure Mexican authorities do cooperate with extradition. I have connections. I can make it happen. Deal. I will transfer it immediately. Marcus arranged the transfer that same day, watching $350,000 disappear from his account. What remained was still substantial, still enough to live on comfortably. But it felt different now. It felt like exactly what it was: blood money. He closed down the import business and started something completely new. Using the remaining $50,000 as seed capital, he founded a microlending organization that provided small loans to street vendors, day laborers, and other people struggling in Mexico's informal economy. People exactly like he had been. He called it Second Chances, though he knew he did not deserve one himself. The organization grew slowly but steadily. Marcus threw himself into the work with an intensity that bordered on obsession, finding in it a kind of penance he had not known he needed. Every loan he approved, every small business he helped launch, felt like a tiny payment on an infinite debt. Devin thought he was insane and cut off contact entirely. Devin continued his life of luxury, burning through his share of the stolen money at an alarming rate on clubs, cars, and expensive women. 5 years later, Second Chances had helped launch over 300 small businesses across Mexico City. Marcus had remarried, a woman named Sophia who ran a nonprofit helping at-risk youth. They had a young daughter. His life was stable, purposeful, better than he probably deserved. But he never forgot. He kept Elena's letter in his desk drawer and read it whenever he was tempted to cut corners, to choose the easy, unethical path over the difficult, honest one. He kept a photo of Jordan on his desk, one he had found in an old business publication profile about successful female entrepreneurs. She was smiling in the photo, radiating confidence and ambition and hope for the future. He looked at it every single day and remembered what his choices had cost. And sometimes, late at night when Sophia and his daughter were asleep, he would sit on the small balcony of their modest apartment and wonder what his life would have been like if he had made different choices. If he had stayed honest, stayed with Elena, built something real from nothing instead of stealing from those who had offered him an opportunity. He would never know. That life was closed to him forever, a door he himself had slammed shut and locked. All he could do was try to be better going forward, to use what remained of his life to create value instead of destroying it, to help others avoid the mistakes he had made. It was not redemption. He knew that. True redemption was probably impossible for what he had done, for the harm he had caused, for the life he had helped destroy. But it was something. A small light in the darkness he had created. A tiny act of resistance against the cynical worldview that had led him down this path in the first place. And something he had learned through bitter experience was infinitely better than the nothing he had felt when he first fled to Mexico with $400,000 in stolen money and a soul that felt hollowed out and dead. 12 years after the events in Austin, an elderly couple in Round Rock, Texas received a letter from Mexico. It was from their son Marcus, whom they had not seen or heard from in over a decade. Mom and Dad, I do not expect you to forgive me for disappearing from your lives. I do not deserve forgiveness. But I want you to know what happened, why I left, and what I have tried to become since then. 12 years ago, I did something terrible. I hurt people who had tried to help me. I betrayed someone I loved. I contributed to the death of a woman who believed in me. And I ran away like a coward instead of facing the consequences of my actions. I've spent the last 12 years trying to make some kind of amends. I built a lending organization that helps people like I used to be, desperate, struggling, trying to survive in an economy that seems designed to keep them down. I have a family now, a wife and daughter who know my past and somehow love me anyway. I have tried every single day to be better than the person I was. But I will never be fully clean. I will carry the weight of what I did for the rest of my life, and that is appropriate. I am writing to tell you that I am sorry. Sorry for the shame my actions must have caused you. Sorry for abandoning you when you needed me. Sorry for not being the son you sacrificed so much to raise. Sorry for taking the education you worked double shifts to provide and using it to hurt people instead of help them. I'm also writing to tell you that I am providing for you now, finally, after all these years. I have arranged for a monthly payment to be sent to your account. It is not much, but it should make your retirement easier, should help cover medical expenses and give you some security. You do not have to accept it if you do not want to. I will understand completely. I do not ask for your forgiveness or your understanding. I do not ask to see you or to be part of your lives again. I just wanted you to know that I think of you often, that I am sorry, and that I am trying, however imperfectly, to be better. Your son Marcus. His mother read the letter 3 times, tears streaming down her weathered face. Then she showed it to her husband, and they held each other in their small living room and cried together for the son they had lost and the man he had become. They accepted the money. And they used it to help other families in their community whose children were struggling, turning their son's tainted money into something useful, something good, something that actually helped people. Because that, they believed, was all any of them could do. Take the broken pieces of their lives, the mistakes and the regrets and the terrible choices, and try to build something worthwhile from the wreckage. It was not redemption. Redemption was probably too much to hope for, too grand a word for such small acts of repair. But it was something. A small gesture toward light in a world that sometimes felt overwhelmingly dark. A quiet rebellion against cynicism and despair. And sometimes they told themselves as they helped another struggling family, sometimes something was enough. It had to be. Because it was all they had left.